This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Crispy Bacon here, and welcome to another edition of Diehard Football Podcast here on the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Many ways to watch and connect with the show. There's a lot going on in college football and the NFL, so let's get started. I guess with the college football playoff. They had their 12-team reveal for the first time in the CFP history, which started in the 2014 season, where we saw Ohio State become the first champions of the college football playoff when it became the the 4-team bracket, and it's been that way ever since last year when we saw 4 teams get in. As we know, it's the committee that decides who gets in instead of the old BCS model that there was for many years, which had the AP poll, coaches poll, and a bunch of computerized models determining who gets into the national championship. But now the committee decides who makes it to the playoff, and we go from there as far as crowning a champion. Well, on Sunday, they released their 12-team bracket. And why not? Let's take a look at that and see where, I guess, the bracket lands. So, the way the format is, the way it works out is 1 through 4 gets a bye, and then 5 through 12 have to compete. The top 4 conference championship winners get the 4 seeds. And then in an at-large, not group of 5 or group of 4, power 4, whatever you want to call it, team will get the 5th spot, and everybody else will be voted in by the committee, is what I gathered. So let's look at the bracket. You got number 12, Clemson, ranked number 12, Clemson, taking on number 5 in the CFP, Texas Longhorns. Now in the AP poll, Clemson's ranked 16, and you have number 3, Texas. Clemson's 10-3, Texas Longhorns are 11-2. Winner of that matchup takes on number 4, Arizona State. Clemson won the ACC title, while Arizona State won in the Big 12. And I know it is weird seeing Arizona State, who for many years was part of the Pac-12, now the Pac-2, they jumped ship, going to the Big 12, and congratulations to them. They are now conference champions, and they're in the college football playoff. In the AP poll, they are ranked number 12. Sticking with the first round, you have number 1 Tennessee going up, or AP poll ranked number 1 or 7 Tennessee, taking on AP ranked poll number 6 Ohio State. This is a 9-8 matchup in the CFP. Winner of this game takes on Oregon, which in the AP poll they are ranked number 1, and they are ranked number 1 in the CFP. Oregon's another team that was in the Pac-12, but they moved over to the Big Ten. This was their first season in that conference, and boy, you know, they're doing really well, 13-0, still making a move to hopefully making it to the semifinals. But that's yet to be determined. I did not know SMU was not in this picture, but they are one of them. Let me see if I can't get the full bracket officially by ESPN. Maybe I can. But SMU is going up against. I went off my screen for a second. SMU is going up against Penn State. SMU had a great year. They moved over from the American Conference to the ACC. They barely missed out at winning a conference championship game against Clemson, but they failed that one. They have a consolation prize, I guess, if you want to call it that, against a powerhouse team in Penn State of the Big Ten. I'm going to give you my predictions too on these matchups too, of what I think would happen in this new 12-team format, and maybe a little bit of how I think this should play out. There we go. I think I have the official. That looks like it's it. Okay. Let's bring this up. There we go. That's better. So we just talked about SMU and Penn State. Winner goes on to number 3 team Boise State, who won their conference championship game in the Mountain West. And then we go to Indiana and Notre Dame. Notre Dame's been in it. Indiana has not. But regardless, they will have to go to number 2 Georgia in the quarterfinals. Now, I would like to say Texas is going to win this matchup against Clemson. You couldn't beat Georgia twice. The first time you had to go into overtime, and that didn't work out. Second time, it was in the conference championship game. You had a chance to win it. It was a defensive battle, which are good battles but you also started out slow. I'm going to go Texas on this one. We're going to say Texas beats Clemson. Uh, but these are two teams that have been to the college football playoff before. Uh, Clemson has won it a few times. Texas been to the semifinal round a few times, but missed out on the championship. Um, but regardless, the winner will have to take on Arizona State in the bowl game. Tennessee and Ohio State, SEC versus Big Ten. Uh, Tennessee doesn't have a chance, I don't think, going into Ohio State and trying to beat the Buckeyes. I think the Ohio State Buckeyes are trying to win it for their coach, but if Ohio State loses, I think their coach is out. Who's going to replace him as new head coach? We'll find out in the off season. But right now, I got Ohio State winning this one. Next, you have SMU going to Penn State to face the Nittany Lions. Penn State's a good team. Many good players have come out of the Penn State, college. SMU's been struggling for years. This is their, you can say, first big break. I want them to succeed, truly being a local team where I'm at. I am a Longhorn fan, but locally where I'm at, it's SMU. And I'm going to go with my gut. All of these are going to be my gut, though. SMU will have to face Boise State. I'm going to say SMU will go to Boise. Or not go to Boise, but we'll face Boise. And Indiana versus Notre Dame. ACC versus Big Ten. I'm going Big Ten, Indiana. They're going to have to face Georgia. Now, the fun. Picking the games for the next round, which is kind of simple. I'm going to pick the home teams, in this round to win. So you got Arizona State, Oregon, Boise State, and Georgia. So you have Oregon hosting, in a way, Arizona State. I got Oregon winning that one in the semifinals. And then I got Georgia winning in that matchup of Boise State and Georgia. And I'm thinking Oregon's going to win the whole thing. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen in the college football playoff, is that Oregon's going to win the national championship, which I wouldn't mind. Oregon's been a good school to root for the last few years. Even after Chip Kelly left the program, and a lot of those, players left Oregon. But that's who I'm thinking is going to win the college football playoffs and the national championship. Remember, here on Coast to Coast Entertainment Network, we have a bunch of shows: wrestling, football, baseball, off the cuff shows like Kicking It, where it's just random topics, and and then we do roundtable. We have C2C Rankum, covering, different topics like crazy laws in different states. So, check out Coast to Coast Entertainment Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're all over the place. But check out social media and Coast to Coast Entertainment Network.com. All right. Now let's go from college football to the NFL. One note while I get this going for the playoff scenarios is that in college football, it's looking like more and more as the days go on that former New England Patriots head coach Bill Belichick will be a part of the North Carolina Tar Heels program in 2025. That's the rumors going around social media and stuff, is that he's going to be part of the North Carolina Tar Heels program after they let go Mac Brown. So now we move on to the NFL playoff picture. And we're going to start with the NFC. And we're going to go over these playoff scenarios as we are entering week 15, I believe it is. This season is going by way too fast. So right now, looking at the way the seedings are, you got Detroit at 1, Philadelphia at 2, Seattle at 3, Tampa Bay at 4, you got Minnesota at 5, Green Bay at 6, and Washington at 7. Right now, your division winners would be Detroit, Philadelphia, Seattle, and Tampa Bay. Your wild card entries would be Minnesota, Green Bay, and Washington. Detroit and Philadelphia already locked up a playoff berth in the NFC, and you have the New York Giants, the Carolina Panthers, the New York Giants are officially eliminated from any playoff contention. You got the Cowboys and the Bears eliminated from the division talks, I believe. Yeah, they're out of the division talks. And New York Giants are eliminated altogether. Dallas can't win the division. Going to the AFC, you have Kansas City at 1, Buffalo at 2, New England or Pittsburgh at 3, Houston at 4, Baltimore at 5, Chargers at 6, and the Broncos at 7. Eliminated from the playoffs, which is a lot of teams. You got the Browns, you got the Jaguars, the Jets, the Titans, the Patriots, and the Raiders. Eliminated from the playoff or from the division talks, you have the Chargers, the Broncos, the Chiefs, and the Dolphins and the Bengals. Buffalo and Kansas City have locked up a spot. Now, as for clinching scenarios this week, The Eagles can win the division title. They need some help, though. They can win and the Washington lose, or there's a tie and Washington loses. Basically, if they win, Washington loses or ties, they get in. Minnesota can clinch a playoff berth with a win. Green Bay can get in the playoffs with a win. The Rams or 49ers tie, doubt that. And a Falcons lost or tie. That could happen. I could see the latter part of this scenario for Green Bay matching up with a win and a Falcons loss. In the AFC, Houston can clinch the AFC South, with a win and a Colts loss. Pittsburgh can get in the playoffs with a win. Now again, the fun of things with the elimination scenarios. Panthers can be eliminated from the NFC South title contention with a loss. Cowboys, they can lose out on the playoffs entirely if you have a loss and a Washington win. Bears can be eliminated from the playoffs altogether if they lose. The way the Washington Commanders can be eliminated from the NFC East title contention is if they lose and Philadelphia wins. Packers can be knocked out of the division hunt this week if they lose. That's kind of a given. San Francisco can be knocked out of the division playoff race with a loss and a Seahawks win. Seahawks can be knocked out of the number 1 seed. Can you believe that? Contention with a loss. Washington is knocked out of the 1 spot with a loss. Let's just go to the eliminations of playoffs altogether. The Bengals, who are on life support basically, can be eliminated from the playoffs altogether if they lose and the Broncos win. Colts are out of the AFC playoff title contention if they lose and Houston wins. Baltimore is kicked out of the top spot with a loss. Houston is out of the 1 spot if they lose. So that's basically what's going on in the NFL playoff race as we head into this week. Now let's move on to the schedule. The big part of it. I'll give you my predictions. I will be on Morning Tailgate this week. So tune in for that Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, only on Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. Ooh, there we go. I think I'm getting it. We're looking at the schedule here in just a moment. December 12th. Did I get it? Yes, I did. Okay. So the week kicks off with a little Rams 49ers on Prime. I gotta go with the Rams. I'm not seeing much of what the 49ers are doing this year. They were dominant last season, with Brock Purdy at quarterback, but they've kind of fallen down from grace there. I am going with the Rams. This is a toss-up game between the Cowboys and the Panthers. Both teams are not really that well. Cowboys just a little bit better, although they do have major, major injuries. Last week, one of the players went down with a ACL, MCL, PCL injury, and will be out the rest of this season and more than likely next season. Cowboys are 5-8. Panthers are 3-10. Not a good look for either team. But since this is a toss-up game, I don't feel good about either team's chance of winning this game. I'm going to go with the home team and pick Carolina. Chiefs are locked into a playoff spot. They're 12-1. Cleveland Browns, they're the home team this week. But they're eliminated. It's going to be interesting to see how things go. In this one, if Andy Reid's going to rest Patrick Mahomes off and on, or at least at the latter point of the season, to get him rest and all that. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs on this one. Dolphins at the Texans. This is a big game for Miami. They're on the outside looking in. They're clearly out of it right now, but they're not totally out of it. Houston has a good shot of making it if they can just win this game. And it's going to be kind of like the Cowboy game, or most of these games. I'm going to pick Houston to win it. Jets and Jaguars. This is going to be a boring game, in my opinion. You got the 3-10 Jets, the 3-10 Jaguars. It's in Jacksonville. Normally, when you have an Aaron Rodgers-led team in any situation, whether it be for New York or Green Bay Packers, either forced to be reckoned with at quarterback, you have to really have pay attention to detail. I don't know. I think he's just a little rusty, or the system's just not fitting for him. I'm going with Jacksonville. Washington and New Orleans. Washington has been one of the surprising teams of 2024, picking up Jaden Daniels at quarterback in the 2024 NFL draft, getting new ownership, just changing the culture. And I know that's an overused term when it comes to sports, but it is all about the culture. And I'm going with the Washington Commanders, and it sucks for me to say that, being that I am in the NFC East with the Washington Commanders, Philadelphia Eagles, and New York Giants. But I can see where the talent is, and I think it's in Washington. So that's one of many reasons I'm picking Washington over New Orleans for this one. Next, you have Baltimore at the Giants. We talked about how the Giants were just really, really dysfunctional, whereas the Ravens, they're not bad, but they're not horrible. But I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens in this matchup anyway. Bengals at the Titans. Bengals have my pick to win this game. They played really well against the Cowboys on Monday night. It's going to be a quick turnaround, however, going from Monday to Sunday. And I know they got lucky, but a win's a win, a loss is a loss. Congratulations to the Cincinnati Bengals. Cowboys just had a blunder at the end, and I don't know if the Cowboys can recover from that, but Cincinnati's my pick for this game against Tennessee. New England and Arizona. Uh, it's so weird seeing New England on a downhill spiral after Belichick and Brady left multiple seasons. Um, but Arizona's showing some spark in the NFC West. They're not out of it, but it's a long shot for them. But going off of these two teams, I'm going to go with Arizona. Colts and the Broncos. You can say this is the Manning Bowl, Peyton Manning Bowl. I'm going with the Broncos and Bo Nix. Sean Payton has lit something up around him, around Bo Nix. He struggled in the first few games of the season, really picked it back up in the latter points of the season, really got his groove going. Uh, and the Colts aren't bad either, but they're kind of on the outside looking in. Uh, but maybe they can get a wild card spot. But as far as this matchup goes, I got the Broncos. Buffalo Bills and the Detroit Lions. No snow in this one, as the game will be played in a dome. Uh, I know these two teams like playing in snow in a way, but Detroit has been really good at home this season. I'm going with it's kind of a toss-up game because Buffalo's 10-3. Detroit's 12-1. I'm going with Detroit on this one. They've been playing really well at home compared to on the road. I don't know what happened to Buffalo this past week, but it just didn't work out for them. Buccaneers at the Chargers. Uh, Baker Mayfield has been playing really well this season. Chargers have been playing okay. They've been playing steady football. Uh, I'm going with the hot hand and going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on this one over the Chargers. Next, we have the Battle of Pennsylvania as the Steelers take on the Eagles. Eagles have been a rowdy crowd in many years, including this season. Pittsburgh, I was surprised when they made the move from uh, Justin Fields to Russell Wilson that it would change the complexion of the locker room on and off the field with a different voice, a different leader out there calling the plays. Um, but the transition from Fields to Wilson has been really well. I was critical about the move when it happened, uh, but apparently I know squat. I just playing an armchair quarterback here, and I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles to win this matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Um, Excuse the cat. He just wanted to come and say hello. Green Bay taking on the Seattle Seahawks. This game reminds me of when they had the fill-in officials. The game was in Seattle. Uh, the officials were on strike, and um, there's a bunch of stuff going on. I can't remember, but I got Seattle in this matchup. This one should be easy, and I'm sorry, Bears fans. Yeah, you're facing Minnesota, and I'm thinking that Minnesota's gonna take the victory. Um, and then our final game, that game was on NBC, the Green Bay Seattle game. And then you have two more matchups on Monday. The Bears and Vikings game. And then the Falcons and the Raiders. I got the Falcons winning that game against the Raiders, who are I can't speak. Eliminated from playoff contention altogether. That's pretty much what I got from this week in professional football and college football. There is talks too of McCarthy staying in Dallas. I hope, if that's true, that he gets better help when it comes to finding somebody, finding talent. I don't think it's a coach issue. I think it's more of a player personnel thing. But hey, armchair quarterback here, so to speak. With that, thank you guys for watching, tuning in. I'll try to be back next week for another edition of Diehard Football Podcast Live. Always on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So with that, enjoy your week. I'll be back next week. Make sure to check out Morning Tailgate Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern or 10 a.m. Central Time on Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. And with that, I'll see you then.